Alright, so this is one of the potential craziest drama situations that I have ever covered on the channel. I have seen situations like this before in the past, but most of it is normally behind the scenes stuff where we don't ever get official names of who is being accused in these situations. And this time though, we do have multiple different pro players involved in this situation. I'm going to present to you guys all of the facts of this situation, give a little bit of my own opinion, but this is something that could potentially be used in the court of law. So I'm also going to try my best to not say anything like too crazy or damaging to any of these people. This is just all accusations at the end of the day. We have a lot of different information to go over in today's video. Let's start off this video with the tweet that started all of this. So 2 days ago now, Curve ended up tweeting out, "Dear Fortnite competitive, my trio and I are currently contesting Avivv Rise in G Money at Outpost Enclave on NA Central. Over the past few weeks, we have received extremely concerning threats targeting our personal safety and that of our families. These threats include sharing our parents' private information such as government documents and social security numbers, and then using this sensitive data as leverage to force us to leave the drop spot. This situation has escalated to the point where Tyler's dad has to sleep on the couch at night because he is being repeatedly harassed and receiving non-stop calls, texts that include his social security number and more. These actions are being carried out by Avivv and his friends who are essentially doxing us and our loved ones. Threatening real life safety is a direct violation of Epic's terms of service and completely undermines the competitive integrity of Fortnite. Fortnite is supposed to be a safe and fair place for everyone, especially for us as young players. Now, the three players that this is happening to, they are 15, 15, and 14 years old. We urge that you take this seriously and take immediate action. Below, I have attached just a few pieces of the evidence documenting these threats and harassment. Thank you for your time and for helping us keep Fortnite safe for all players. Please help." And then below that, he ended up attaching a bunch of different files of some screenshots. First one is of some text messages. I'm gonna have to blur a lot of things out in here, but pretty much it just shows that they were able to get a hold of their number. And then the next one is screenshots of them getting sent their actual social security number and their own personal information because they were doxxed by allegedly, remember, allegedly, Avivv and his friends. And then they also ended up texting them a screenshot of what I am pretty sure is either their parents or their own personal cars. And they pretty much just said, "Thank you for the new car." And it was like a document that showed their car or whatever. Now, there is also a video in this that I will break down and give a lot more of my own opinion on because some of the things that were said in it was just absolutely insane. And then for the doxing and harassing thing, it seems like in Curve's tweet right here, he's not directly accusing like Rise or G Money of doing any of these things. It's pretty much just all Avivv and his friends. Like, I know this is the last season for these trios to be able to qualify for LAN. Teams are getting desperate at this point and really trying to do anything they possibly can to maximize their potential at securing one of those final LAN spots. But this, I think we should all agree, is just going way too far and should never be happening in Fortnite. If this all does end up becoming true and this is what Avivv decided to do instead of practicing or leaving, then this 100% should be a bannable offense. And this shouldn't just be like a 28-day ban or nothing like that. This should be permanent if Epic Games does decide to conduct their own investigation and they do find Avivv to be guilty of these accusations. So I want to show you guys a clip of something that really did make me upset though. It is something that I can talk about a lot more. So I'm going to show the clip that Curve actually attached to this as well.
No one's saying you, Josh. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I hope I hope I see you around my little cousin.
What, bro? What?
On everything. I actually can't wait. I actually pray for the day.
Bro,
I'm not even showing.
Josh is safe in my hood.
No, it's a safer thing for a Curve, bro. Like, I actually hope he goes to Dallas, bro. I already knew you guys aren't gonna go outside because there's some pussies, bro, on my soul.
Bro, he is so tough. I'm not gonna ignore him. He's just like an internet
I
gangster.
don't care.
Josh, you'll be good, bro. You'll be good, Josh.
Yeah, I got. I'll never let anything happen to you, Josh. You're next up.
Thanks, bro.
Oh, come on, dude.
I told you, like, I actually hope I see you, like, I promise you.
He's like 40.
He's gonna fight a ninth grader, bro. Come on, bro.
I'm not doing nothing. My little cousin's getting in.
Yeah. His cousin's 200.
Tie down your mom and
What?
Bro, what?
Bro,
just wait, bro. Just wait.
Jesus crashing.
He wouldn't do that. I wouldn't let him, Josh.
No,
Josh, you're 20 minutes away from leave.
I will. On everything I love.
I think
Josh, imagine you're just mid-tournament and you just hear Avivv and your mom just in the back.
he'd be playing.
Bro, it's not even that. Your mom works every single day. I'm just gonna catch her at work one day. It don't even matter, bro.
Bro, Avivv.
She's unemployed.
Oh, Oh,
What?
your daddy then, or whoever, your brother, your daddy,
What?
what?
Wait,
Your
what?
daddy, your brother probably goes to the gym sometimes. Probably get a
I don't have
good
I don't have
gym
perms
fit
to
in,
serve
bro.
mute him. I'm
Should I turn mute him or
Yeah,
no?
I mean,
dude.
He's
no,
the
I
owner.
don't care. I'm just saying eventually,
Aviv's
bro.
Aviv's got the wrong guy.
Yeah, you got to go after Tyler, Avivv.
It's not that. Josh is the closest to me. I don't even care, bro. I'm
This guy's gonna be
What?
a fucking 14-year-old.
just saying eventually, bro. Just later on in life.
What's the age you can stay in Canada?
in
Aviv?
life.
Go to the grocery store. Get some really nice cucumbers.
Aviv's just gonna ask people, do you know someone named Josh?
All right, now straight up, just from what you could hear in this clip, this is absolutely just like insane for Avivv to say. But Avivv is 18 years old. He was born April 5th, 2007. So even though he is just recently turned 18, he is still technically a legal adult. And he is making threats at a 14-year-old. And now he does say that he's gonna get like his little cousin to beat him up or whatever. And then he continues to make statements about his parents and things like that. Just really weird and uncalled for stuff to be saying to somebody that is still a literal child and someone that was literally in just middle school last year. It doesn't make them look tough or anything, especially when it gets brought out into the public. There was just so many different insane things that Avivv said throughout this that I was just really disappointed in. All right, I had to go like full screen here because this information that just dropped from Avivv does perfectly show that there is two sides to every single story. So pretty much Avivv tweeted out at Fortnite Competitive, at Thomas Curve, Tyler, Josh, there's been a lot of misinformation and serious accusations made about me and my teammates over these past few days. I've stayed quiet until now, but I believe it is time to share the full context. This is my side of the situation. Everything is backed with real proof. Just remember, there is two sides to every single story. And then he attached this Google Doc link right here. And also, we're gonna read through this whole like doc and everything, but Curve responded to this and he said, all the info was used for the FBI. See you in court. So this is an official legal situation now that is going to be handled in the court of law. So I really got to be careful with what I say here because I'm not trying to be sued for defamation or anything. I just want to make sure that I am accurately reporting for both sides of the situation. So Avivv ended up responding with this whole 7-page article right here. And I'm just going to try to read through the main things for you guys because I've already read through this 2 times now. And there is a couple of filler things that I feel like don't really matter too much. So I'm just going to skip over that. You guys can go to Avivv's Twitter if you want to read the full entire document. But pretty much Avivv said, my side of the situation involving Curve, Tyler, Josh, and Thomas. I was previously friends with both Tyler and Curve as we used to play as a trio. I eventually moved on to a different team that was a better fit for me, which unfortunately led to some tension, particularly with Tyler. This shift seemed to create animosity and he began suggesting the idea of a friendly boxing match as a way to settle some of the off-spawn issues. The segment that is circulating was taken out of context. This was after the conversation of our said friendly boxing match. While my intent was to engage in lighthearted trash talk, I recognized that I crossed a line and what I said was inappropriate. I take full accountability for my actions and want to be clear that I do not support or condone the behavior I displayed in that moment. Now, I would have to assume that this whole entire document is probably written by Avivv's lawyer. And I think that for Avivv especially, that was probably the only thing that he really could have said in this situation. There was no coming back from what he was saying to Josh in that clip right there. And taking accountability was about the only thing that he could have done. And then he says, clarification on the allegations of threats and harassment. Regarding the claims of threats and harassment, there was a pre-existing conflict between Thomas and Bookie prior to the current situation, as shown in this exchange from June 30th, 2025. And this image right here, I can't show it because it shows just a lot of racist stuff between Thomas and Bookie. And it's pretty much just Thomas calling Bookie like the hard R and telling him to do bad things for himself and everything like that. He said, what unfolded appears to have escalated from the ongoing dispute, but I want to be clear that I had no involvement in it. I do not condone any form of threatening behavior. Bookie acted independently and without any of my knowledge or involvement. Curve publicly confirmed via a Twitter reply that I was not responsible and that Bookie was the one behind the actions in question. And then he did end up responding with the tweet that says, Avivv's best friend Bookie is the one texting all of us this and doxing everyone. And so if you guys don't know who Bookie and Thomas is, Bookie is actually Avivv's friend, and then Thomas is Curve, Tyler, and Josh's coach. As you can see in his bio, it says right here, Curve, Tyler, and then Josh is the one that is also covered up by my face cam. Avivv continues on by saying, regarding the personal information incident, I want to address this situation involving Thomas, who is both Curve's coach and close friend. Prior to any public posts or allegations made against me, Thomas obtained personal information about my family and threatened to make it public unless I agreed to give up our shared drop spot. My parents were also called and harassed regarding the situation. Avivv is pretty much just saying here that he was also subject to harassment from Thomas, who is Curve's coach, and his family was also being threatened, very similar to how Curve was saying that his family was being threatened by Avivv, or according to Avivv, it would have been Bookie. This occurred before any tweets were made accusing me of misconduct, and I believe that these actions were part of an attempt to get me banned so their team could claim the drop uncontested. So furthermore, just expanding on that, Avivv pretty much just believes that all of this was made public by Curve and them in an attempt to get Avivv banned, which would lead to Rise and G Money leaving the drop spot, which if you guys don't know, Rise has already tweeted out looking for one with G Money for FNCS, still letting out posts. We aren't a part of any of this external drama and we don't condone it. I pretty much just responded with a W, because if you are Rise and G Money in this situation, the best thing that you can do is just completely get out of it. Furthermore though, Avivv ended up saying in the second link exchange, Thomas explicitly states that my personal information will be made public unless I leave the drop spot. Avivv said, I strongly condone this kind of behavior, especially when it involves threats and misuse of private information. Proof of these interactions can be found here in the links below. And Thomas pretty much sent him a picture of his family, I would assume, and he said, cute family, dude. I don't want to be weird, but you gotta stop, because we can play this game too, except you're in the wrong. Avivv just responded with, dude, you actually can't be real. Thomas said, it's gonna be all public until you guys leave. You're right, I'm not a changed person, I tried. So one of the main things that I really am taking away from this is Thomas saying we can play this game too. This kind of leads me to assume that Avivv, or who Avivv is saying did it, of Bookie, was the one that was doing this first. But Thomas doing this back to Avivv is also completely unacceptable. We then got Avivv going on and saying, clarifying Curve and Tyler's involvement. Tyler and Curve have claimed that they had no involvement in this situation and all of the actions were carried solely out by Thomas. However, there is clear evidence contradicting that narrative. In the message link below, Curve is seen directly asking Thomas for both my personal information and my teammate Rise's, intending to use it as leverage to pressure us into giving up our drop spot. And then he shows that the proof can be shown in the link down below, and he said Curve is seen directly asking Thomas for my full name and home address. And now I tried to zoom in as much as I possibly could on here. Pretty much Curve just says, just DM me his name, that's literally all I need. And then Thomas said, I don't know it right now, his first name is like Nathaniel. And then he says, where are you at? And Curve says, talking to my parents. And then Curve says, send me Avivv's address, and then his name also again after that. This was really interesting to me. I actually ended up doing some more digging and I found this tweet of what looks like it is Curve's mom. As if you go to her profile right here, it says, this is Mama Curve, Curve fan forever, and it is followed by Curve and Tyler, as you can see right here. Also, Curve's mom actually ended up saying, pure deflection, we only wanted your name for a police and FBI report. Nice try, not working. The timeline doesn't match up with your ludicrous post, not to mention the video of you verbally threatening Josh and his family. I guess that's someone else's fault too, liar. She was also responding to some other people as well. Somebody said this doc literally gave Avivv the exact proof to win this in court, and then Curve's mom ended up responding and said, except the document is false and manipulated. It's also just him deflecting what he has done, trying to point the finger at others. If you knew both sides of the timeline, you would know that he is full of in this document. And then he responded, but the doc isn't false though. The written statement might be AI, but he quite literally provided links to back up these claims. And then she responded, I'm Curve's mom, I know how this went down. Avivv is manipulating the situation. All right, now before you make any of your full conclusions based on that, we still have more to go over. Avivv also said in another exchange, Curve also asked Thomas for my teammate Rise's personal information as well. And then he shows the screenshot right here to back it up. He said, send me Rise's info and everything. He said, even more concerning, Thomas pretends to send Curve my address, my mother's full name, and my phone number. Now this text message conversation right here is where it is very concerning. So this first text up here doesn't even really get mentioned, but it says Rise's mom is getting her windows broken. It's $46 for me to do it in 2 hours. And then like Avivv also said right here, Thomas ended up sending like their full phone number and address and everything as well. Avivv goes on to then pretty much just show that Thomas is a very bad person and he has done this in the past, and he also has different forms of racist clips as well. Back to the actual current situation though, Avivv goes on to say harassment and defamation targeting my teammates. This situation escalated further when my teammates who had no involvement in any of the prior incidents became targets of direct harassment and life-threatening statements. These actions were not only baseless, but also intended to intimidate and isolate me. The goal appeared to be clear: defame and pressure my teammates into cutting ties with me under the false promises that the situation would go away if they did. This is a form of blackmail and character assassination that goes beyond competitive disputes and crosses into targeted personal harm. Now they also provide screenshots of Tyler telling Rise that if he dropped me, everything would stop. And then as you can see here, Tyler says, because if you drop Avivv, everything will stop. Rise says, what are you talking about? Tyler says, if you drop Avivv, I'm in the same Discord as you, you would have uncon still. Thomas was posting Avivv's family like I'm confused. And then Tyler says, bro, it's because Avivv did it first. Rise responds with, are you forgetting he doxed me too, which I had nothing to do with? And then he also goes on to say, and I still didn't do anything. I said for everything to stop. And then these DMs of Thomas to Rise are just absolutely insane. This is in no way, shape, or form should be said from one human to another. Thomas says, it's getting worse and worse every day for you guys to leave now. I'm done. And then Rise says, you're just a failed Fortnite pro taking 3% off of 15-year-olds. Thomas responds with, you're mad. And then Thomas responds with a message right here as well that I don't even want to read out loud. Now he shows even more screenshots of Thomas pretty much trying to manipulate Rise into either dropping Avivv or just leaving the drop spot. We see Thomas send the original tweet that Curve made, and then Rise responded with, this has nothing to do with me. You guys have been trying to air stuff on each other. I'm just calling off spawn. I've said that from the beginning. I have nothing to do with that. Tyler already knows. I've spoken to him with that. And then Thomas said, I know you're not, but you're still playing with him. What if he gets banned? Now you're 28-day banned. Like, if you don't think that's possible, you're just dumb. And then literally just more insane messages from Thomas to Rise, saying things, sending things like his address. And then he said, you need a phone number too to verify. And then he said, you want to get a nice gift for your mom for Christmas, right? Better hope she is still around. Just completely insane things to say over a Fortnite drop spot. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot more things in this that just kind of show Thomas being a very bad person, including Thomas claiming that his father would hire a hitman to kill him. We've ended up concluding this by saying, final statement, this statement was not made to escalate the drama, but to provide full transparency and clarity on a situation that has been twisted and misrepresented. I have taken accountability for my own mistakes, but I will not allow false narratives, threats, or coordinated defamation to continue without response. He also says, I respectfully ask that I am not falsely penalized or banned based on manipulated narratives or incomplete evidence. I trust that the truth and context presented will be rewarded fairly and objectively. Thank you for taking time to hear my side. So, oh my goodness, if this is not one of the craziest Fortnite dramas we have ever seen, as Curve has said, has already been sent to the FBI and will be used in court. This is a very serious situation that I cannot currently fully give my own opinion on yet. I also just want to make sure that I am clarifying that I am not on anybody's side in this situation. I am just trying to provide you guys with all of the necessary information so that you guys can come to your own conclusions based on the information that was given. But I am very interested on how not only the court of law is going to handle this, but Epic Games as well. Will Epic Games just allow all of these players to compete all the way up until grand finals? We literally have the FNCS play-ins in just like 3 days from now. I will continue to try to update you guys on the channel if any new information comes out. Remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Let me know your guys' own thoughts on this in the comment section down below. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. YouTube says I'm enjoying one of these two videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.